welcome to the video. I'm going to show you a tip on how you can create dummy buses.
Larry, this simple exercise can help you stay healthy,
allowing you to route complex signal chains for reverbs and buses to dedicated audio tracks for printing wet and dry signals. Here in the main project of Cubase, I've configured a very simple setup for a section in the orchestra, in this case strings. So we have our high strings instruments with violins and violas, then our low strings with cello and basses. The outputs of these are going to the group buses, but I've created some effects sends for the high and low strings. Now, depending on how you want to work, you may want to create effects sends for a section to handle long notes and short notes, or you might like individual reverb sends for the different instruments. However, it doesn't really matter because if we are going to sum these to an audio track to print, we still need to create a dummy bus. Let me hop over to the mixer and I'll show you how this is configured. So our group track, which I've created here, has the reverb sent to it, not the output, but a separate send going to the group. And the stereo output of the group is disconnected from the project. The reason for this is that I don't want to hear a duplicate signal of the reverb, because our dummy bus is then routed to the input of our audio track, which is used to print the wet signal. As you can see up here, I've got the bus selected. With the group buses, the main outputs of the individual instruments are routed to these. However, this is an optional step. Let's say you want to sum all of your instrument sections to a single stem to print, for example, strings. You would just create an audio track and repeat the same process, and then set the input on the audio track as the bus input. Now, if you just want to print high strings and low strings to their own audio track, you won't need to use a dummy bus. You could just create the audio tracks and set the inputs accordingly. Now, if I record some random MIDI, and then if we arm our audio tracks and then record, it will now print the dry and wet signal separately. So here's the dry. And here's the wet. Now, you may be wondering, why not just send the reverb separately to the audio tracks to print? Well, the problem is you can't send multiple things to an audio track. You can only set the input on an audio track to one other track in the project. For example, you can see here in the list, I can't have access to the audio track, but from the drop-down input, I could choose any other track in the project, but we're just limited to one. So that's why you would use a dummy bus to facilitate your routing of multiple signals to a single channel, which can be then sent to the input of your audio track. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Now, in the description down below, I'll leave a link so you can download this little test configuration so you can get a better idea of how it's set up. However, the patches won't be loaded onto the instances of Contact. And for the reverbs, I'll swap them over to Reverence, which is included with Cubase. Hopefully you found this video useful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.